when he was talking about when whoever counts that money first and what's skimmed off the top, they all have a count room, and everybody wears like it almost looks like a prison suit, jumpsuit with nothing on underneath it. You can't have your purse, you can't have anything in it. You're just there in the suit, and you're counting that money all day long on your shift. That's it. And you go out and you're screened, and make sure you're not hiding any. There's no pockets in it. There's no nothing.
It's like being in those diamond mines over where they use the natives over there in South Africa or wherever it is, where they got the diamond mines, and some of them they make run around naked or with a loincloth, because and then they wash them down to get the dust off of them if it's gold or whatever that they're after, because there's gold in that dirt that's on them. They'll have them shower them, but it's refined now that I have no idea anymore what they have out there.
I remember when the first one of the money for meetings, this was probably 2002. 1 or 2, we had a big important management meeting because they were putting in a new bar. And this bar was they called it diversity. It was for gays.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the minute they started in, if you were tuned in, to whatever, you knew immediately what they were doing, and then they just started popping up, because that was where the money was, and they were going after the money.
Yeah.
Because they'll come into town, they'll pay $1,000 for a bottle of wine.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
they
you
charge
told
you,
me.
$500 to get in the door, another $500 for the table, how many guests you have, what you drink, what you're gonna eat, everything's got a price on it, and those guys will pay. It's just insane.
Prior to them, it was the hippies. Nobody wanted to play with the hippies, so to speak, or do services for them. They had the money years ago. When Harold and I first went together as in a partnership, that was Linda's dad. He'd been in the business before when we got together, but back in those days, it was the hippies, and that's after Woodstock, or wasn't it, and all that. But nobody knew how to handle them because it was new, see.
They were like lawless, or the law, whatever, they had no rules. Their clothing, their dress, their hygiene, but they had money. Probably why.
See,
And spend it on anything.
it's today. Everybody wants to, if you'll excuse the expression, want to screw each other. So screw thee before thee screws me. And that's the way the town operates now, in essence. And I don't care what business you're in. You can go to the post office, and you've got the bureaucrats in there, locally here. You can go to a jury show, or whatever it is. But there's always somebody like this. And now you get out on the strip, especially out down where the MGM is in that area, plus up the strip. But bottled water is a big deal. They got people bringing, well, I don't know that they can still do it, but now they have to be licensed, I'm sure. But for a long time, they were selling bottles of water, and they're getting it right out of the tap at their house and washing the bottles out and collecting bottles like you would cans. But that was a big deal for a long time. And then our upper politicians there, well, that shouldn't happen. Well, why'd you let it get started in the first place, see?
Well, just like all the smut magazines too.
Yeah,
that passed
that's
through.
another
It was like,
thing.
it was like a homeless person surrounding you constantly with their hands out. With the smut magazines and all the stuff that was smut. Did you run into any of that? Were you out on the street?
No, we haven't run into any of that yet, but I've had a few
Cuts
friends.
a lot of that back, but man, it was getting bad. Now it's just they take your purse, take your wallet, whatever. But I was like, I was telling you, take your purse, wear it, keep it shut. Because it happens so easy because it's so crowded. And they just do it, pickpockets, just like in New York.
And it's not to make the town sound bad, but it's just that way. Money is evil to a point. Everybody is human, everybody's either hungry or greedy.
Yeah.
And they got so many gimmicks going. If you get to see the movie Rounder with Matt Damon, I think he's in it, Ed Norton, I think's in it. But it's about the poker tournaments that they have here, and they all started back on Fremont Street, although they've had poker in the hotels for years. But the world championship of poker and all that, well, Damien played some character in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw a documentary where they had made the movie, and not a lot, but maybe 3 or 4 people, old timers, are used to trade with me at Caesars, and they would play at the Dunes, the Flamingo, downtown. There was people like Amarillo Slim. He was one. This guy by the name of Eric Drake was his last name, but he wanted to be called Duche. He was one of my customers.
Douche.
Eric Duche is my name. Yeah. He drove an old, what's that Buick that looked like a turtle? Riviera. But
There's some nighttime's really something if you're a
Oh,
people
yeah.
watcher. I mean, the ones who, transvestites?
Yeah.
transvestites.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
Jasmine got a little peek of that.
Crossdressers, yeah, that's the ones I
Crossdresser as
think
well.
about. Oh my
Yeah, I saw
gosh.
tall, skinny man in booty shorts and a tank top. That
Yeah.
was classic.
Oh, yeah, and all these Elvis impersonators,
Oh, yeah.
and some of them are about the size of a small elephant.
Yeah.
They got the big sideburns and
And there's an Elvis convention that comes to town. And, oh,
It's
geez.
amazing that's still going on.
They-
Oh, sure.
they just
Yeah,
made a
never
tribute
died,
to
huh?
him at the racetrack. I don't know what all this means, but what's that Presley broad's name? She was here.
Lisa?
Lisa Marie.
One of them was here for this dedication for using his name and all this. But when he was here, he was getting burnt out, man. He was on drugs and etc.
Yeah.
And he'd eaten too much for a fact.
Well, understand that,
Oh, yeah.
that a lot of
Wanna
it
see my
was,
poster, if I can find it?
well,
Yeah.
he wasn't in charge of his own health.
Absolutely.
Apparently the doctor, Elvis,
No.
apparently they were really
That
pushing drugs on
the
him.
colonel was riding him like a horse. He wanted to make money. This boy will make me a whole
This
bunch
is
of
the
money.
Marquis, the MGM back in Gretchen was.
I think I may have pointed it out the other day. I said, oh, that's where they had Gretchen's name up when she retired. Or maybe did you ask me?
It was, wasn't it Employee of the Month something? Gretchen, wasn't that Employee of the Month? Grand Class Star Performers, Gretchen Goodwin.
So what year was it when you came here?
Late, it's about 60. Around 61 sometime in there, but first time I was here was in 56, and I kept coming back because I was stationed in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, you came then. Oh, I didn't know
yeah, and it was a good town then, but naturally it didn't have all the frillies that we have today. But everything is a trap out there if you dare say that. But you can say anything you want if you feel like it. But like this ink or thing, they got this Ferris wheel looking thing. It's got rooms on it.
Yeah, I went in it last
Swing on
night.
it, like they hold 28 people, and you can go in there and have lunch and all this. You could spend $3,000 or $4,000 in there by the time you get out, the time you buy the wine and all the stuff they'll sell to you. Now, who can afford this? The average tourist that's walking the street with 5 kids, or, you know, and like to change the subject to the people that have the money, the Arabs and stuff, they would move them up to another floor. And they have rooms that would have machines in it if that's all they wanted, or if they wanted tables, they'll, if you
Bring
want
it
to
in.
play and you got the money. But, you know, it's changed so much now. Everybody's got their finger in it,
Yeah.
see, and especially the bureaucrats. And they're not willing to let go. Maybe they don't own a bold in it, but they get something off the top.
Oh yeah, that's mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have to ask Jasmine. So, what year did your parents come out here?
It was what, 59, 60? I finished school in.
They
I was-
came out of here from Niagara Falls, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we'd already, so I got out of the Marine Corps and went to Page, and then Page closed down. That was in 59. Should, it could be
That's-
59,
It was 60 or 61, somewhere.
yeah,
there.
something like that.
I've got the records at home. I need to get back there.
They,
Gretchen probably remembers because she was
A little.
little living with them, right?
Hey,
Or-
Gretchen,